So, Jeff, the big controversy over the weekend, and this is what everybody's been talking about, and I know that you saw it, and I can't wait to get your take on it. By now, I feel like everybody is caught up to speed on what happened this past weekend with Rampage Jackson's son. The Cliff Notes version is Raja Jackson, who was an MMA fighter trying to follow in his father's footsteps, apparently suffered a concussion in sparring early last week, and he felt so bad later in the week when he was supposed to be streaming on Kick and playing golf. He didn't feel up to it, but he somehow still agreed to participate in an independent wrestling match that happened in Los Angeles. I think Rikishi is involved with this. I think it's Knox Pro is the name of the promotion, and things went terribly awry. Jeff, you saw the footage, you know a little bit about what's happened, and I want to get your take and get your 2 cents on how this all went down.
Oh boy. You know, let me just say this. I think you said we're going to assume, and I'm a part of that I'm all caught up on that. There is still so many things that I have no clue about. What I really don't know is, where is Raja in the sphere of, has he had any training in professional wrestling? Do you know that, Conrad? And let me ask you.
I know that, and the answer is no. He's not a pro wrestler. He's never been around pro wrestling. Rampage Jackson even had a quote about this, where he talked about the fact that, while the guy Stu, who's still in the hospital, and there's a GoFundMe, and we will tweet that out from both of our accounts, but he sees Raja approach him. He knows he's going to be doing something with Raja in the show. That's already been discussed. But when he sees Raja approach with a camera in the backstage area, well, there was an assumption made. Okay, this is part of the angle. And I think, again, I don't know anything about wrestling, but I think if you were in a similar spot, you may have assumed the same thing that Stu did. Like, hey, if he's got a camera in the backstage area, he's here to set something up for our show. Now, as I understand it, Rampage Jackson's son, Raja, he doesn't really know anything about pro wrestling. So that was a blind spot to him, that you shouldn't be streaming in the backstage area and all that sort of thing. So he just didn't know. So when Stu rears back and hits him with what I believe was an empty beer can, and then he says, "Are you not going to sell it?" As a reminder, he's not a wrestling fan. This has not been previously discussed or agreed upon. Stu is trying to improv. You can see the way he's, pantomiming with the hand in the air. I mean, he's trying to do a pro wrestling style punch. And I think that went poorly. And I don't think it helped that as he took a look at the comments on his live stream, you had a lot of 12-year-old and 15-year-old kids telling Raja that he was a bitch and he wasn't doing anything, and they can't believe he would get punked out like this by a pro wrestler. So they're amping him up and hyping him up when he's already got a concussion and he doesn't really understand pro wrestling, not excusing any of what we know is going to happen afterwards. But I think that kind of answers your question and sets the level.
Okay. So when something happens on an AEW event, ultimately Tony Khan is responsible. Game, set, match. When something happens at a WWE event, you can go all the way up, but in a lot of ways, you got to go to the chairman. Ari has to, yes, there is somebody who's ultimately responsible for it. I don't know who's ultimately responsible for it, but leadership is paramount on this situation, in my opinion, on multiple levels. That's where, when you really get into the layer upon layer upon layer, that Conrad, you are, I've seen enough to know that karma is a bitch. I bit my ass. Like, I think Jimmy Smith said it on it. Have you seen Jimmy Smith's comments? And if you haven't, Dave, you want to maybe pull those up. He talked about, the referee and an MMA referee. If you let one punch go too late, that's not good. If you let two, but like 3 punches in MMA world is like, Jesus, 3 punches too many. Like when a guy's knocked out, if the referee lets another punch get in and then a second and a third, it's way out of bounds. Well, obviously the professional wrestling referee, he don't have a clue what's going on. Hell, they counted a 1, 2, 3 on a guy who had been hit 20 plus times. It just, the whole thing to me, and look, I'm not pointing fingers, but you're asking comments and I'm trying to digest and make his, I'll say quality of statement as possible, but the lack of leadership, it ultimately falls on who rented the building that night, who's the promoter. And I'm not pointing fingers because I don't know who it is, but you can't say, hey, I didn't know nothing about this. I didn't know about that. Well, ultimately, if you're going to make profit out of the show, who was going to make the profit? So you got to take the good, and the bad is this happened on your dime, on your clock, on all that. And so, again, Conrad, put that picture back up, Silva. I don't know the gentleman's name, but my understanding is the guy behind with the hat on, Conrad, he didn't do the situation any favors either, because I think he fed into it. Now, was that a work or a shoot when he said, yeah, get payback? What I don't know is who was working and who was shooting up till the point before he.
Jeff, come on, buddy. What are you talking about? You don't know who was working and who was shooting.
No, fucking let me finish, dude.
He threw a pro wrestling punch with an empty beer can.
No. All the comments, like didn't he say before he went, like we streaming, like I'm going to screw this guy up. I'm going to screw him up for real, right? Obviously, he was shooting, but
yeah, there's no doubt.
But if you go back and listen to that, can you imagine a professional wrestler saying that? That's what you would say. Hey, I'm going to screw this guy up for real.
Of course.
I'm just kind of going down that line. I really don't know. Ultimately, the guy who promoted the show is responsible, and so I don't even know who.
Oh my gosh, Jeff! Or is there no personal responsibility or accountability?
No. Raja is guilty. The guy in the cowboy hat, if it's true that he amped him up, he's guilty. There's a shitload of guilt to go around. The whole thing is so sickening to me that. And Rampage, hang on.
The guy in the cowboy hat's guilty of what? Can you explain that to me like I'm a third grader?
Didn't he pump Raja up and said, take your receipt? Didn't he say, go?
Raja doesn't know what a receipt is. So no, that wasn't said. Raja was brought in to do something with Stu.
What did he say backstage to the guy? I think there's I do. I may be wrong, but
Jeff, why was Raja there, Jeff? Why was Raja there? Why was he at the building that day? Come on, let's make an assumption. Why was he there? Why would he have been invited there?
To do an
angle? Yes, absolutely. They were going to do it. It was a planned spot that went awry because Raja is a dumbass motherfucker who believes that wrestling is real.
No, he doesn't believe it.
Why did he punch him 22 times? I mean, he swung 27 times, but when a guy is unconscious, punching him, huh?
Okay, so that, I mean, I don't think he thinks it's real because he was told when to go in the ring and leg dive, and it's the whole thing is so screwed up.
Do you think he was also supposed to punch him until he died? Was that the plan?
My gut tells me he's a young kid. I have a strong feeling that Raja thought he was going to get a lot more of a fight than he got. I don't think he planned on knocking the guy out. Now after
he said on
punch, and he put 20 more in there. Hey, karma's coming.
Well, he's going to jail. I mean, he's probably going to prison. I mean, that's you don't think?
They let people out of jail for murder in this country today.
This is on video.
I get it. I look, I get it. But when you get into the court systems, there are people that literally have done murders and they don't do time. True?
Did they do the murder and say, I'm going to hit this guy until they pull him off of me?
So you don't think a good attorney is going to say, Raja, and prep him and give him the whole 9 yards and say, hey, you were working. And
no chance.
I think it's a complete.
You think it's reasonable that he has punched 7 through 22? You can justify that.
I can't just no. Look, if you're asking me what I think, or like,
I'm asking you, can a lawyer justify when
oh,
a guy, you've broken his teeth, you've broken every bone in his face,
a lawyer,
he's choking on his blood, he's flatlining, just keep punching him as part of the show. What?
I hate the whole thing, but lawyers are going to get involved. It's a mess. It's a complete mess. It's bad for the business. Hell, it was in, it's made headlines everywhere, hadn't it, Conrad? And again, I'm not the one to ask. We're talking on my podcast, but you're asking me. I'm doing the best. But again, Conrad, you don't think there's liability all the way around? You think Raja's the only guilty one?
No, I'm not saying that at all. But hang on,
Sounded like it. Seriously, it sounded like it.
Okay. I just can't believe this is a thing. Like, let me ask you this. I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm being sincere. You have seen some devastating accidents happen in the wrestling world. Really bad stuff. If one of the guys knows the other guy is messed up and continues to pummel him, not like working punches, but hitting him as hard as he can. Like, did Raja think he was in an MMA event that day, Jeff?
No, I question how Raja's thinking ability across the board. Like, who
did you hear when he was told after the fact? He let a bunch of 12 and 15-year-olds pump him up because he's talking to himself on stream.
What do you mean by that? Because I don't know that.
He streamed for 700. He had a 700 person audience on stream, and he's telling them. Let me back this up.
See,
when the guy gets hit in the head with the can. Okay, so Raja gets hit in the head with the can, and Stu says, "Are you not going to sell it?" Raja has no idea what that means. I get that. He's not a wrestling fan. Someone should have smartened him up. Someone should have told him, "Hang on, don't come backstage with your camera. It will ruin the illusion of what we're doing as a part of the show. So don't come backstage." That certainly should have been said. But I think
who?
The promoter.
And who else?
The promoter.
Okay. To me, anybody back there with any kind of sensible knowledge that is involved and says, "Hey man, this is a kid. He knows what's going on." I don't put that solely on the promoter. I put it on all the boys back there to say, "Hey man."
Everyone said that. I don't know if you saw the video, but everyone said, "Hey, he's not worker. He doesn't know." Okay. And so Stu stood up and said, "Hey man, I'm sorry." And he tried to apologize profusely, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Raja shook his hand, not once but twice. And he kept saying, "Hey man, I just thought with the camera there, that's what we were doing." Okay. Wrestling is a thing of improv. So you're certainly going to assume, hey, if he's back here with the camera backstage, we're supposed to be doing something. And if I'm working with him later and we have a spot in the match, I've got to do something. So he took care of him and hit him in the head with an empty beer can to make a noise, and then said, "Are you not going to sell it?" Thinking like, hey, what are we doing? The kid got mad. Everyone's saying, "Hey man," embarrassed. And so, but more importantly, the fans who were watching online, and I'm talking 12 to 15-year-old kids. Cody is the target audience for Kick. You and I, show me Kick on your phone. You don't have it. Nobody I know does, because we're damn 40s and 50s and we don't do that.
Will you explain what Kick is?
It's a streaming app for 12-year-olds, Jeff.
Okay. I didn't know that, pal.
So just like, people play Twitch. You've heard of that? Kick is for in real life. Now Twitch has that too, but he shows himself grocery shopping. He shows himself playing golf. Okay. Whatever. That's new. He's got 700 kids now saying, you're a bitch. You're just going to let that guy, I can't believe you let him punk you out on your own feed, blah, blah, blah. No, so these kids are hyping him up, even though he's concussed. And the guy has been very genuine and said, "Hey man, I thought we were just doing I'm very sorry. I didn't know. I just assumed." He was very sincere. This is an Army veteran who's been in the business, and Miro vouched for him. I don't know if you saw this, but Miro's put a tweet out too. And he's even vouching for the guy, saying, "I've known and trained with him for 15 years, a former U.S. Army veteran, an amazing guy, no excuses for what happened in that ring, praying for a strong kick out." So Miro's vouching for him. This guy's not an asshole. But I'm saying all that to say, now he's on the front row and he's saying, "I'm going to get my get back. I'm going to start punching this guy, and I'm not going to stop until they pull me off." Now that is what they do in MMA. And there's some idiots online who say he's doing what he was trained to do. Guys, he's not in an MMA match. This is not an MMA match. MMA matches don't happen in pro wrestling rings. Like, why would he think that everything else that's happened in this is a work? Did he think Stu hit him as hard as he could for real? He knows what a real punch feels like, Jeff. I'm tired of this bullshit narrative that, oh, Raja didn't know. Fuck Raja. Now the first knockout punch, I get it. Maybe he could have said, oh, that was too hard. I don't know how to work a punch. I'm an MMA fighter. But when he sees the guy's unconscious and he keeps going and he breaks his teeth and he keeps going and the guy's choking on his own blood and all the bones in his face are crushed beneath his fucking fists and he keeps going for more than 24 blows, fuck him and anyone who defends him. How's that?
Is that his diagnosis?
Yeah, dude, he flatlined and they called Raja on stream. He died. Stu died. And they called him and said, hey man, he's flatlining. And Raja says, my bad. I'll call you back. That's his response. After you ain't gonna call me no bitch. I ain't no bitch. I ain't gonna be nobody's bitch. You know, you're about to be somebody's bitch for a long time, motherfucker. You're going to prison. And then you got assholes out here defending it. I don't understand. Like, I get if it's confusion or whatever, but when you're on top of the guy and you know you're doing real damage and he's unconscious and you make the decision to keep going, I don't mean like you knocked him out. Because if you watch the video, Jeff, he hit his head on the back of the mat because Raja didn't know what he was doing. He was out immediately. His hand was down.
He was out on the suplex. So I'm kind of going back and look, there's so much guilt to go around.
No, there's not.
Oh, yeah.
No, there's a lot. Listen, there's a lot of things that could have been handled differently, but the crime it's not a crime to not kill the guy.
Okay. Crime and guilt.
I don't care about guilt. I'm talking about crime. We're past guilt now. A guy's fighting for his fucking life, and we're talking about who's to blame. How about the guy who punched him 24 times when he was unconscious?
I could not agree more on that. I still say to back it all the way up, the whole thing
Let me tell you who I'm most disappointed in, and he's a friend of mine and yours, and I'm disappointed in.
Raja.
Well, of course, I don't know him. Fuck him. And by the way, I don't think it's cool. By the way, he's lost his deal with Kick, and I think Rampage may have too. And Rampage is getting death threats and all kinds of racist comments. Hey, that ain't cool either. Rampage did nothing. You've met Rampage, I'm sure. A nice guy, a personable guy, great wrestling fan. But he even joked earlier this year on his own stream, Rampage, saying, hey, I've saved up money for some of my kids' college tuition, and I saved up bail money for Raja. He knew this kid was a problem.
What?
Yeah. He's just saying it right on camera. I saved up bail money for him because he knew this would be a problem, and it was. And I'm not excusing the concussion thing. Like, he shouldn't have been there. And if anybody knew he had a concussion, it shouldn't have been there. I don't want the kid's life to be ruined, but man, he has to be held accountable for when he continues to punch someone.
Yeah. No, accountability.
Like everybody knows, you've watched enough MMA to know the fight is over when they're no longer able to defend themselves. And when the ref starts to pull you off, you jump. But he didn't do that.
That was on the suplex, in my opinion.
Of course it was. But even if you wanted to follow up with another punch, and people are conflating the two, and they're showing clips of his dad doing that in MMA, well, that means everybody signed up to be punched in the face. That's not what this is. You were invited to a pro wrestling thing, and now you're not welcome at any pro wrestling thing ever again. But speaking of pro wrestling, one pro wrestler let me down, a guy you and I think a lot of. I would go so far as to say a guy we're both friends with. I'm talking about Mark Henry. He gave a quote to TMZ today, and I want to share that with you. He said, you've got to be careful, one, with who you're messing with, and two, what kind of example you are as a veteran for inciting a riot with a kid. If I indeed saw what I saw, which is people before the show during the daytime drinking and intoxicated or partially intoxicated, and you bust a bottle over a guy's head and talk trash like that guy was not going to do anything, yeah, you're at fault. Buddy, he didn't bust a beer bottle. It was an empty beer can. He worked it. The kid showed up backstage with a camera. Are you telling me you've never improv'd when you've seen a camera?
Yeah, wow.
Of course. I'm not a wrestler, but I'm just saying, if you see a camera backstage and it's approaching you, don't you think you have to do a little double J effect?
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying is context is king across the board.
Absolutely.
On stuff that we're not aware of, but let's go back to.
Here's what I come down to at the end of the day. Oh, he hit him with the so-and-so. Did he hurt him?
No.
Was that a real punch? Do you think Stu really punched him? Was it a shoot punch or a work punch?
So he was there specifically Well,
to get a little rub for his bullshit kick stream and hope a few more eighth graders watched his goddamn stream.
That's why he was there. And yeah.
It was good PR for him and good PR for them. By the way, not even we've got a great man or a celebrity coming by. We got someone who shot out of a great man's nuts coming by. Raja Jackson has accomplished fuck all in his life and is going to continue to accomplish fuck all. He's not going to be an MMA star after this. He's not going to be a WWE star after this.
Was he going to be an MMA star before this?
He was training for MMA, and that's how he got the concussion. He had sparring. He got it concussed in the sparring session earlier in the week. He's a streamer, and I don't know what he's going to be able to stream in prison, but we'll find out.
Damn, dude. See, the whole thing's it's bad.
The idea that people are trying to justify 27 shoot punches after one work punch, give me a break.
We understand that. Why in the world does anybody think, and I'm kind of going on Jimmy Smith, so I'm not the MMA expert. How can anybody justify after punch? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt after punch 3. What is their justification? I'm curious to hear that, because that's nonsense. That's just
the guy's in bad shape, and I'm continuing to tee off on a defenseless person.
What are they saying? Help me understand what the idiots are saying. Like, why? How are they justifying that? I'm curious.
I have no idea.
Okay, that's. Oh, Connie.
The idea that people are coming out and saying the example you set as a veteran. What? He's sitting backstage and a kid approached him. I mean, nobody's ever heard of taking.
And so you're helping me dial in here. Did you say he apologized 3 times? Not
yeah.
once?
Yeah. Shook his hand twice. And here's my thing. If you're really going to be a man about it, when he hits you, you turn around and hit him right back right then. Then there's no confusion. But that's a chicken shit cheap shot. I don't know anything about wrestling, but I would wonder, would Stu have allowed himself to be picked up and dumped like that had he known what was coming? Of course not.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying is the whole thing reeks.
There were assumptions made that Rampage's kid knew about pro wrestling, because we know Rampage is a big wrestling fan. I mean, he wore the damn JYD logging change. By the way, one of my favorite all-time MMA fighters. I can't tell you how many of his fights I went to see. When he first came over from Pride, it was a big damn deal. I couldn't wait to see him. And I was so excited to see his fights in person. Huge Rampage fan. Hate this for him. Hate this for his family. And here's the thing. I'm sure Raja's a good person deep down. And I'm sure he made a mistake, and I'm sure he was concussed and he was not in his right mind and all that stuff. But this whole discussion of, well, Stu's partly at fault. What?
Yes.
He threw a working punch. He didn't hurt he did no damage to anyone. Now he hurt the kid's pride and ego to a bunch of 12 and 15-year-olds. But now we've got a concussed person who's been punched. I mean, pretend it's a fake punch. What are we talking about?
Yeah. So let me ask you, because I saw a couple of different videos. What is your explanation that the referee counted 1, 2, 3 still?
The whole thing is embarrassing. It's bad. Here's what I think. I don't know.
My mind.
Well, I agree, and it disappointed me. And I made some earlier comments and popped off about it because I was kind of half-assed pissed off about it. But the more I think about it, the more I realize, hey, nobody probably knew what the hell they were supposed to do. Never have we been in a situation where it's a match and something that like this happened. And I know that in this era nowadays, people try to do worked shoots and work the boys and blah, blah, blah. So maybe he didn't understand the severity of what it was and thought, well, this was the plan. I don't want to get in trouble and lose my job. I don't know. It's all embarrassing. It shouldn't have happened. But I'm not going to pile on the other guys who were just honestly trying to do their best. I mean, they didn't hurt anybody. But that's my big takeaway is, should the promoter have explained more and made sure everybody's on the same page? Yes. Should he have said, hey, you can't bring the cameras in the back? That wouldn't even make sense. Yes. Could that have prevented all of that? Maybe. I don't know. But if those kids are still going to be hyping him up during the entire show before he did the stunt, oh, you're a bitch, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Like, it ruined the whole surprise. it's disappointing to me that it got to this far, but the idea that people are somehow trying to justify, but those other punches, those are warranted. What?
That's society in and of itself today. They rationalize, justify, and minimize the most insane stuff. Conrad, I know I've told the story about the Moondog Battle Royal that Larry Latham used to beat up the guys working on Saturday morning TV in Memphis and used the 1x6 boards and beat them up and all this kind of stuff. There were two guys that came in. That happened on a Monday morning. Not 2 days later on that Monday, the following Monday, we had a Moondog Battle Royal. They slid in the ring in this Battle Royal. The one guy had something around, but he hit Larry 21 times. And Eric Embry because he was booking it or partially booking. He was there anyway in all this, but those guys came in, beat the shit out of Larry, went to the back, and the one partner, and they connected the boys connected all the dots because they figured out, obviously it was premeditated, but they loaded up their car before they went in and did this because they knew that, hey, we're going to jump Larry. We're going to get a receipt. He took liberties. They were the understanding that he took liberties with them, and they got out the back door, and those folks hadn't been seen since. I say all that to say because they knew shit was going down. Like, were the cops called immediately? And maybe if you want to move on for this, let's move on from it.
No. Yeah, the cops were called. I mean, yes.
Okay.
I mean, they were trying to goat him into a fight. Other wrestlers were trying to say, "Hey, come back and fight us." Blah blah blah. I think that was just it. Yeah, but I think that was just an attempt to make him stay. As a rule of thumb, if you damn near murder somebody, you hightail it out of there. You don't stick around till the cops show up.
And that's what he did.
Yeah, and the LAPD is investigating now.
Yeah.
I mean, when Rampage saw the footage, his whole demeanor changed because he was streaming himself and he looked at it and his whole face changed and he looked at someone off camera and he said, Roger's probably going to jail. I mean, I don't know how he doesn't go to jail.
Well, that's getting into stuff. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of assumptions that we can make, but
no, well, I don't know how we can assume that was anything other than assault.
Oh, no, guilty without question, but will he go to jail? That's a whole nother discussion.
Oh, no. I think we're conflating jail and prison. He going to jail. He may not go to prison, but he's going to jail. God, man. We've just seen as we're recording, Silva has sent me something over. Raja Jackson and his father, Rampage Jackson, addressed the situation in a live stream where Raja, rather than apologizing, blamed the cameraman for continuing to film the incident instead of ending the broadcast.
You're kidding me.
No, Raja was concerned about losing the kick deal. And I love me some Rampage. I really do. I mean, I have, I'm a belt collector. I've got a UFC light heavyweight title. And a big reason I wanted one was because of Rampage Jackson. So I'm a big fan. He's a Memphis guy. I don't even know that you know that, but he loves Memphis wrestling.
Oh, so, no, that was obviously what we bonded over.
I absolutely love that dude. He's fantastic. And I'm pulling for him. And I want him to be on the other side of this. Because I can't imagine the pain that he's going through in this. But even then, when he first watches the footage, he says, Raja's probably going to jail, ... And he's probably going to get kicked off Kick. He might lose his streaming platform deal. It immediately went to, he's going to jail and he might lose his income. Hey, what about the guy who's laying there with no teeth now, struggling to breathe?
They just put a statement out today, 2 days later?
No, they're still streaming talking about it.
Not the smartest thing in the world. Jesus.
You think? By the way, as pissed off as all wrestling fans are about this, you need to quit it with all the racist bullshit and death threats to Rampage Jackson. He didn't do nothing. I mean, yes, we would have loved to have seen all of this handled differently, but the idea that people are trying to hold Rampage responsible for what his adult son did is a little silly. He wasn't there.
Mm.
What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, just obviously you are much more dialed into it. I knew top line stuff. Look, I immediately went to how did it get to this point? Like, and I even went under the assumption that he had a little bit of professional wrestling training. I was still like, how did everybody around them, like, how did it get to punch 5, let alone 20? I don't know. Like, I get it. There does no good to judge and point fingers, but like, I don't know the players involved, but.
Well, thankfully we can say that Stu is conscious and resting, and obviously he's got a big road of recovery in front of him. And if there is a silver lining in here somewhere, I hope he makes a full recovery.
Yes.
Because I believe he will be welcomed back and get a hero's welcome on a much bigger platform in professional wrestling.
You know what? And Conrad, we've kind of mentioned, or you've mentioned all kinds of. Have we heard from his camp, Stu's camp? Like, I know you said Miro tweeted, but like, have we heard specifics from his camp on his current health?
Yeah, I just said he's conscious. He's in the hospital, and he's conscious, and he's breathing. So he's alive.
Like, what is his? What were his damages? Did they? I mean, is that got? I mean,
they broke all his teeth in his mouth and all the bones in his face.
Holy shit, man!
And he's got a concussion, so he's probably got.
That's bullshit, man.
There's no telling the damage that we got.
Yeah.
And again, listen, if he slams him and gets 1, maybe 2, I'd even give him 3 punches. But after that, it's like, don't you feel that he's not awake and you're continuing?
Well, it goes into
you had some 12-year-olds hyping you up.
Right. Well, and you can blame all the 12 and 15-year-olds you want. Raja's got issues, dude.
Oh, there ain't no doubt. I mean, and his dad knew that. None of our business when he said, "Oh, I'm saving college money for the other kids and bail money for him."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he goes so much deeper. Yeah. Oh man, but
I don't know if you saw, but even Mr. Beast, the
world entertainer, before I came up the steps, because she had on that, but I just said, "Oh wow, that may be the best news I've heard out of all of this. If there is good news." If that brother gets behind it, it will.
Jeff, I know you're not tuned into all the other streaming stuff, but every major streamer on YouTube and every other platform, this is all they're talking about. Okay. Not just UFC guys, not just wrestling guys. I'm talking mainstream.
Mr. Beast is the most powerful
force in entertainment.
Yes,
and he's behind it right now, and he wants
the Netflix folks.
Yeah, yes, it's not close. It's not close.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about this, and by the way, Mike Martin says not all of his teeth, his orbital bone. Stop, Conrad. You're not right, bro. Get your facts right. Not hearsay. Okay, send me a link, bud. I'd love to see your insider report. I mean, the report we got was he broke his teeth. He had broken teeth, and that's the reason he had trouble breathing. Either way, here's what we know: he should have known when to quit. And a crime was committed and Raja's getting arrested. I don't know another way around it. I don't want anyone to go to prison. I don't want anyone's life to be ruined. I'd like for everything to go back to the way it was a few days ago. But the idea that people are saying, "Oh, well, no, that's okay." No, it's not. Like it's not okay.
Shout out to Efren. He summed it up. I don't know if you saw what Efren said.
I think he's quoting me. He going to jail.
I was going to say he's quoting Connie.
SaveWithConrad.com.
My name is Rajiv. I'm in Sacramento, California. I came to Save with Conrad because I've heard Conrad talk about how he helps people all the time save money and the best route to go for getting some mortgages and finances done. And having heard so many different testimonials in the past, it made the most sense to go this route. We were in the market for a new house and we wanted to know what we could afford. So We spoke with Steve and then Diane to get through the pre-approval process to see what we could afford. And then once we were able to understand that aspect of it, that was when we were able to shop around for a house to get a mortgage through Save with Conrad. Everybody on the team was great. Everybody really explained everything fully to where it was more in like layman's terms to where I could understand it as someone not in the business or having shopped around for houses too many times. So being able to understand every step of the process and talking with everyone on the team about that was really, really helpful. And it made me feel really confident that I was going the right route. I would definitely recommend Save with Conrad to others. I know that sometimes people look at it and they go, oh, they're based in Alabama. What could they help me with? But I'm out here in California, and they were able to square everything away and get things done really quickly, as opposed to sometimes even people out here don't move as quickly as the Save with Conrad team. So everything was really well done, really efficient, and I would definitely recommend Save with Conrad to others. My name is Rajiv. I'm in Sacramento, California, and I was able to get into my dream home with SaveWithConrad.com.
That's number 212, non-equal housing lender. SaveWithConrad.com.